never thought silence could hurt more than words. But that night, it did. I stood in the middle of the crowded living room, my hands trembling, my cheeks burning with humiliation I didn't deserve. The voices around me were loud, sharp, and cutting, but the one voice I needed most stayed silent. I waited for my husband to defend me, but he stays silent. I kept staring at him, at Adam, hoping, begging, pleading in my heart for him to say something, anything, one sentence, one word, one breath in my defense. But he just stood there, his jaw clenched, his eyes lowered, like he couldn't decide whose side he belonged to. That moment became the beginning of the story I never wanted to live. The night had started beautifully. Warm lights, soft music, the scent of vanilla candles, and laughter that filled the space like something whole and gentle. It was Adam's company dinner, his big night, his moment to shine. He looked handsome in his navy shirt, sleeves rolled up, hair brushed back in that slightly careless way I secretly loved. I thought we were fine. I thought we were good. But one assumption can shatter everything. It happened so fast. One comment, one joke, one careless remark from a coworker who drank too much and knew too little. "So, Lily," he said, smirking, "tell us the truth. Is it hard being the wife who doesn't match Adam's level?" The room fell quiet. Eyes turned. My heart dropped. "Match? What level?" I asked, even though the words stung before they were explained. "You know," he laughed, "career, confidence, success, status. Adam is way out of your league." A few people chuckled. Someone whispered, someone looked away. And then everything inside me felt small. I expected Adam to step forward, to take my hand, to tell them I mattered, that I wasn't less. But he didn't. He stood still, too still, his lips pressed together, his hands tucked into his pockets like he wanted to disappear. And I broke quietly, invisibly, painfully. My throat tightened as I remembered the months I spent supporting him, his late nights, his stress, the endless coffee runs, the pep talks, the way I held him when he doubted himself. I had been there through everything. And now, in the one moment I needed him, he gave me nothing. I tried to swallow the ache building in my chest. "Well," I said softly, forcing a smile, "I didn't know marriage was ranked like competition." The coworker laughed again. "Come on, don't be sensitive. It was just a joke." A joke. Always a joke. It's funny how people use that word to excuse cruelty. I looked at Adam again. He still didn't look at me. He was staring at the floor like the cracks in the tiles were far more important than the cracks forming inside my heart. The worst part wasn't his silence. The worst part was realizing he chose silence. Later that night, after the guests left and the laughter faded into distant echoes, we drove home in heavy silence. The city lights blurred past the window, but all I could think about was the way he didn't stand up for me. The moment we walked inside our apartment, I finally asked, Why didn't you say anything? He exhaled, long and tired. It wasn't a big deal, Lily. You know how people are at parties. My chest tightened. Not a big deal? He insulted me in front of everyone. He rubbed the back of his neck. I just didn't want to make a scene. It was my promotion night. I didn't want drama. I felt like someone had dropped ice water into my veins. So protecting your image mattered more than protecting your wife? He looked away again. You're twisting it. No, I whispered. I'm finally seeing it. He froze. The words hung in the air between us like broken glass. He tried to come closer. Lily, please. I stepped back, shaking. Do you know what hurt the most? I whispered. Not his words, not the judgment, not the humiliation. I paused, voice cracking. It was the way you looked down instead of standing beside me. His face softened, but it was too late. I felt the pain too deeply to accept soft expressions as apologies. Lily, he said quietly, I love you. You know that. Do I? I whispered, my voice barely a breath. Because tonight, I didn't feel loved. I felt abandoned. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. Silence again. He was good at that. That night, I slept facing the wall. He slept beside me but felt miles away. I kept replaying everything in my mind, the way he avoided eye contact, the way he stayed quiet, the way he chose convenience over courage. I loved him. God, I loved him so much it hurt. But love shouldn't feel like swallowing pain just to keep someone else comfortable. My heart felt heavy with unspoken questions. Why wasn't I enough to stand up for? Why did he let them belittle me? Why didn't he see my worth the way I saw his? And most painfully, why did the man who promised to protect me become the one I needed protection from? The next morning, sunlight crept through the curtains, painting soft gold across the room. It should have been warm, but the silence between us was colder than winter. I got up, made coffee, and stared at the steam rising from the mug. Life felt suspended like one wrong word could shatter everything. Adam walked into the kitchen, his voice hesitant. Lily, about last night. I waited, heart trembling. I didn't defend you because I thought stepping in would make things worse. I didn't want people saying I can't take a joke. I didn't want to look weak. Weak. The word pierced through me. So you let them make me look weak instead? His eyes widened slightly. That's not what I meant. But that's exactly what he had done. I looked at him, really looked at him. And for the first time since our marriage, I saw something that scared me more than the silence. I saw a man who loved me, but didn't know how to protect me. A man who wasn't bad, but wasn't brave when it counted. A man who cared, but cared more about how others saw him than how I felt in his arms. Something changed inside me that morning. Something quiet, something slow, something painful. I realized that love can break even when it still exists. And yet, somewhere deep inside me, a soft whisper of hope remained. Because love doesn't vanish in one night. It lingers. It aches. It waits for healing. But healing has a price. And I wasn't sure if Adam was willing to pay it. The days that followed felt heavy, like the air between us had turned into something thick and unbreathable. Adam moved around the apartment with careful footsteps, as if afraid any movement might push me further away. I wasn't angry anymore, not in the loud, fiery way people imagine anger. It was quieter, deeper, like my heart was learning how to protect itself from the one person it trusted most. Every morning, I woke up expecting him to say something meaningful, something real, something that showed he understood what he had done. But all I got were soft apologies that lacked the courage I needed from him. "I'm sorry," he'd say. "I didn't know it hurt you that much." And every time he said it, it felt like he was trying to patch a fracture with paper tape. Maybe he didn't understand because he never had to stand alone in a room full of people who dissected his worth. Maybe he didn't understand because he had never been the one waiting for someone to choose him publicly. Or maybe he understood perfectly, but admitting it would force him to confront the parts of himself he wasn't ready to face. One evening, 3 days after the party, we sat together on the couch, but the distance felt like an ocean. He scrolled through his phone, pretending to be busy, while I stared at the quiet TV screen. "Adam," I finally said, breaking the silence that had suffocated us for days. He froze, then slowly lowered his phone. "Yeah? Do you even know what you made me feel that night?" His shoulders tensed. "I told you I didn't want to." "Make a scene," I finished for him. "I know. You've said it 100 times, but this isn't about a scene, Adam. This is about respect." He sighed, rubbing his forehead. "Lily, can we stop going in circles? I made a mistake. Can you please just forgive me?" I swallowed hard. Forgiveness isn't a button you press, Adam. It's something you earn. His eyes darted away. "I don't know what else you want me to say." That sentence, those 8 words, felt like a quiet heartbreak, because he wasn't fighting for us. He was just trying to end the discomfort. Something inside me cracked a little more. That night, I lay awake while he slept beside me. His breathing was steady, peaceful, unbothered. And I wondered, how was he sleeping so easily while I felt like drowning? The next morning, I grabbed my bag and headed for the door. "Where are you going?" he asked, panic flickering in his eyes. "Out," I said softly. "I just need air." "Are you coming back?" The fact he had to ask made my chest ache. "Yes," I murmured, "but I need space to think." I walked out before he could speak again. Outside, the world felt wider, calmer, safer than the emotional storm inside our home. I walked to the small cafe down the street, my favorite one, with wooden tables and the smell of cinnamon drifting through the air. I ordered a coffee and sat alone, staring out the window as people passed by, laughing, living, loving without hesitation. I wondered how many relationships had broken because of a single moment of silence. A voice interrupted my thoughts. "You okay?" I looked up and saw Mia, my closest friend. She worked nearby and often came here after her shift. "You look like you're holding back a hurricane," she said, sliding into the seat opposite me. I let out a shaky breath. "It's Adam." "What did he do now?" I told her everything. The party, the humiliation, the silence, the days that followed. Mia listened without interrupting, her expression shifting from disbelief to anger to disappointment. "He didn't defend you?" she asked, voice sharp. "Not even once." "Not once." She leaned back, shaking her head. "Lily, that's not just silence. That's a choice." "I know," I whispered, "but I still love him." "Loving him doesn't mean you should accept being hurt." Her words hit deep. "What should I do?" I asked. "Make him understand," she said. "Really understand. Not with soft words, not with polite conversations, with truth." Her advice lingered in my mind long after she left. When I returned home that evening, Adam was sitting on the couch, anxiously bouncing his leg. When he saw me, he stood up instantly. "Lily, I was worried. You were gone for hours. Why didn't you call?" "I needed time," I said quietly. "He looked like he wanted to reach for me, but hesitated." "Did you think about us?" I nodded. His breath caught. "And?" I walked past him and placed my keys on the table. "And I need you to hear me, really hear me, not defend yourself, not minimize it, just understand what your silence did." He nodded slowly, fear flickering in his eyes. "Okay, I'm listening." I swallowed, gathering strength. "That night, I didn't need you to fight the whole world for me. I didn't need drama. I didn't need a grand speech. I just needed you to look at me and say, 'That's my wife. Don't disrespect her.' One sentence, Adam. One moment of courage." His face twisted in pain. I continued, voice trembling. "When you stayed silent, you didn't just fail to defend me. You made me feel alone in a room full of people. You made me question my worth. You made me doubt your love." His eyes filled with guilt. "Lily." "No," I whispered. "Let me finish." He swallowed hard. "Okay. Your silence that night didn't break us, but your silence afterward, it's been breaking me every day." He dragged a hand down his face. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." "Because you didn't ask," I said softly. "'Cause you thought avoiding discomfort was the same as fixing things." His chest rose and fell quickly, like he was struggling to breathe. "I don't want to lose you." My heart twisted. "Then show me." "Not with promises, not with apologies, with actions." He nodded slowly. "I can try." "Trying isn't enough anymore," I whispered. "I need effort. I need presence. I need a husband who stands with me, not behind me." Something shifted in his expression, then something raw, something real, something like a man finally seeing the consequences of his fear. He stepped closer, voice shaking. Lily, I will do anything to make this right. I looked at him, and for the first time in days, I didn't see distance. I saw a man on the edge of losing everything. But part of me wondered, was effort coming from love or fear of loss? And for the first time, I wasn't sure. The next week was the slowest unraveling of my heart. Adam tried, he really did. He woke up earlier to make breakfast. He sent long texts during the day telling me he loved me. He came home with flowers even though he never remembered to buy them before. And yet, something inside me stayed cold, untouched, not because I didn't love him, but because I didn't trust the sudden change. It felt like he was fixing symptoms, not healing the wound. He kept searching my eyes as if trying to measure how much love he had left inside me. And the terrifying part was I didn't know the answer either. One night, I sat on the balcony wrapped in a soft blanket. The city lights looked like scattered stars fallen to the ground. The air tasted like quiet sadness. Adam stepped out slowly, like approaching a broken thing he didn't want to break further. "Can I sit?" he asked. His voice was gentle, unsure. I nodded, but my body stayed still, wrapped tightly in the blanket like my heart was wrapped in my ribs. He sat beside me, close enough to feel his warmth, but far enough to remind me of the emotional distance we still had. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence wasn't angry this time, it was scared. Finally, he whispered, "Lily, are you falling out of love with me?" The question knocked the air out of my lungs. "No," I whispered. "If I were falling out of love, this wouldn't hurt so much." He closed his eyes, relief and pain mixing together. "Then tell me what to do." "You can't fix this in a week," I said softly. "You can't erase what I felt. You can't undo your silence with flowers." His jaw tightened with regret. "I know." The wind brushed my hair, my heart beat unevenly. I swallowed hard. "Do you want to know the truth?" "Always," he whispered, "the night of your party." I didn't just feel disrespected. I felt invisible, like I didn't exist beside you, like you were more loyal to their opinion of you than to my place in your life. His eyes filled with unshed tears, but he didn't look away this time. "I didn't realize how deeply I hurt you," he whispered. "I was so focused on looking strong that I didn't see I was making you feel weak." I looked down at my hands. Love shouldn't make someone feel small. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, face covered in his hands. "I hate myself for it, Lily." Something inside me cracked at the sight. I placed a shaking hand on his back. "Don't hate yourself, just grow, change, stand up when it matters." He turned, his eyes glassy, raw, broken. "I want to, but I don't know how to show you I'm changing." I hesitated, then said words that had been sitting heavy in my heart. "I need separation." His face went pale. "What?" "Not divorce," I whispered, "just time apart. To breathe, to understand myself, to see if love can survive distance." He shook his head instantly. "No, No, Lily, please, anything but that. I can't lose you. You won't lose me, I said softly, but I need clarity. My heart is bruised, Adam, and bruises heal with space, not pressure. He stood up abruptly, pacing the balcony like a man spiraling. I won't survive without you. I can't sleep when you're upset. I can't breathe when you're hurting. Lily, please, we can fix this together. Just don't walk away from me. His voice cracked on the last word, and something inside me shattered. I'm not walking away, I whispered, standing up. I'm stepping back so we can walk forward again someday. Tears finally escaped his eyes. I can't let you go. You have to, I said, my voice trembling, because holding me too tightly is what pushed me away in the first place. He fell silent this time, a silence full of realization, not avoidance. And for the first time, his silence didn't hurt me. His silence understood me. The next morning, I packed a small bag. He didn't stop me. He didn't beg again. He just stood by the door, eyes broken but respectful. Where will you go? He whispered. Mia's, I said softly. Just for a while. He nodded. Can I hold you once more? My heart clenched. I stepped into his arms, and he held me like the world depended on it. His breath trembled against my neck. I'm sorry, he whispered over and over like the words were prayers. Come back to me, he said, voice breaking. Only when I know you can protect my heart, I whispered. When I left, I didn't look back. If I had, I might have run into his arms again. The week apart was slow torture. I cried into Mia's couch. I replayed every moment. I wrote him long messages and deleted them. I loved him so much it scared me. On the 5th night, there was a knock on Mia's door. I opened it and froze. Adam stood there, hair messy, eyes swollen, holding a small box in his shaking hands. Before you say anything, he whispered, please let me talk. My breath hitched. He opened the box slowly. Inside was a necklace, not expensive, not flashy. A simple pendant shaped like a small shield. This isn't jewelry, he said softly. It's a promise. My eyes blurred instantly. Adam? The night you left, he continued, voice trembling, I realized something. I've never really defended myself either. I spent my whole life being quiet to avoid conflict, to seem composed, to seem strong. And I let that fear hurt the one person I can't live without. A tear slid down my cheek. I'm not giving this to you to fix anything, he whispered. I'm giving it to promise you I'm changing. Not for them, not for the world, for you, for us, for the love I almost lost. He stepped closer, gently taking my hand. You asked me to stand up when it matters, he said softly. This is me standing. And for the first time since that awful night, I believed him, because his voice didn't shake from fear. It shook from love. I threw my arms around him, and he held me tighter than ever. Don't be silent again, I whispered. Not when I need you. He cupped my face gently. Never again. That night, he didn't just hold me. He chose me, loudly, bravely, completely. Some stories don't end. they begin again with understanding and love. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our channel for more heart-touching stories.